Hello. So today I got a gift from the ever generous Matthew. Thanks, Matt. And it's the Mausolea Oracle of Souls. Now this deck has been on my wish list for a hot minute. I think I was like when I made the wish list, I was like populating it. And so I like went on Amazon and I think I typed in like tarot decks and oracle decks, and then I just like added stuff a while ago. So this one's been on there for a minute, and now it is mine. So thank you. But we'll see. We'll see. It's illustrated by Jason Engel. So if you were if you were curious, and y'all know that whenever I get a new deck, I don't necessarily go through all the cards. So we're just gonna. I think there's a spread in here. I think it's a 5-card spread, and it's the path. I flipped through the book real quick. The Way of Paths. This short reading takes the traveler through an issue or problem. Each card represents a point on the trajectory surrounding the issue. This reading is good for immediate, tangible problems and specific questions. Well, I don't have a specific question, but in reading the cards, consider not only the specific card, but the realm that governs the card. Is there a particular realm in which the querent primarily dwells? Oh, snap. If all/nearby cards are from the same realm, the traveler is stuck in place or the problem is multi-layered and must resolve that blockage before they can move on. Okay, that's cute. So I'm going to do that one. It's a 5-card spread. I'm going to shuffle this a few times. I'm going to pull 1 and 2. I'm just going to go through the deck. I'll step through the deck. I'm going to cut it here. So the first card is going to be Vanth, Caretaker of the Lost. I think these are... well, now Vanth is on the ground. Sorry. I finally cleaned today. You can tell because I slightly rearranged. Instead of a stack of teas over there now, there's a bag with a box of tea in it. So Vanth, domains of respite, assistance, and memory. This is the first card. Vanth looks like it would be one of the angels in the Angelarium. A little bit. Well, maybe I wasn't looking at it right. Yeah, still a little bit. Maybe it's the wings. I think this was 5, right? Was it 5 or 6? I feel like it was 5, but looking through it, it looked like 6. I've never used this deck before. It is 6. Okay. So I'm going to give a little cut. Second is going to be Dawn, the Red Shepherd. Just reward, evaluation, and respite. So we get at the top 2, whatever you call these, with the domains of respite. And that's interesting because respite is a word that I've been hearing through different readings and readers lately. The third one is Mother of Dawn, the Emissary. Her domains are beauty, agency, and compassion. So you get to see 6 of the cards. And I'll get to see 6 of the cards. The fourth one is Thanatos, Warden of Dis. His domains are completion, support, and expediency. The fifth is the Traveler, Keeper of the Crossroads. His domains are restlessness, independence, and appraisal. I like that the fact that the Traveler came out 5th is interesting. Because, what is this, the many paths or whatever? It's supposed to be the traveler's journey, right? And so if the traveler signifies us in some way, then we're nearly at the end. The Way of Paths. This short reading takes the traveler through an issue or problem. So we're nearly there. And then the bottom of the deck, I'm going to pull as the sixth, and that one is Nyx, Enchantress of Night, whose domains are secrets, vigilance, and subterfuge. So now we do a whole bunch of reading because I don't know anything. I don't even know what domains. Oh, wait. The pictures are different. So we have 4 cards in whatever this domain is. It looks like Pluto. We have Vanth, Mother of Dawn, Thanatos, and Nyx. So 4 out of the 6 of these are in the same domain. I hope I keep these in order. Yeah, it was in this order. The other 2 are in different domains. So 1, 3, 4, and 6 are all the same domain. So I guess that's nice for 2 and 5 that they're in different domains. Is there a little picture with a cheat sheet? It does not look like it, so I will find it. So I'll read these first. So number 1 is the entry or self, where the traveler begins on the journey, the current situation or state. And again, that is Vanth, caretaker of the lost, with respite, assistance, and memory. Second is the obstacle, the biggest obstacle in the traveler's way, the realm that informs the difficulties facing the traveler. And this is a realm outside of all of the others, and that is Dawn, the Red Shepherd, just reward, evaluation, and respite. Evaluation is interesting if Vanth is the caretaker of the lost. It's also interesting that first is the caretaker of the lost, and then the second is a shepherd energy. And it, of course, it makes me think of the one sheep that wasn't in the flock. Third is the object or goal, the best that can be achieved, accounting to hold up. There we go. The best that can be achieved according to current trends, the thing slash attitude that is needed for the best outcome, and the realm which holds the answers the traveler seeks. And that one is Mother of Dawn, the emissary, beauty, agency, and compassion. Which is interesting because if this is the realm, what did that say? The realm that holds the answers, 4 out of 6 cards are in that realm. So that's pretty, and it's, I guess, in that way, the obstacle is something in a different realm, which again is an interesting energy. Uh, with Vanth being the shepherd of the lost. Our obstacle is something in a completely different realm. Wait. Our obstacle is something in a different realm, but the answer lies in the same realm that we begin in. Number 4 is the next step, the next most immediate tangible action that can be taken, and that is Thanatos, which is completion, support, and expediency. Warden of Dis. So the next action is completion, which is it's interesting to be the next action. It's just like just do it. Be like Nike. Number 5 is the external force or guide, a person who affects the situation external to yourself or whose help you can seek, and that is the traveler. keeper of the crossroads, restlessness, independence, and appraisal. This is also an interesting energy. So the obstacle is everything is happening in the same realm, except for the obstacle and the guide. The obstacle, let's say we're in realm A, the obstacle is in realm B, and the guide is in realm C. But the card that came out as the guide for realm C is the traveler, and this whole spread is supposed to be based on the traveler's journey. So that would most easily translate to a higher self type of energy, where if it's an aspect of ourselves but outside of this realm or outside of the realm that we're in, I think that could also be, I guess, if we're particularly triggered, it can be, it's almost like when we're not in a situation, we know what to do, but when we're in the situation, we kind of like do something different, or we forget, or we panic, or something like that. It's kind of that energy. It could also be a future self, the person who we are becoming. Number 6 is the conclusion and final repose, where the traveler ends the journey, the present final outcome. And again, that is Nyx, Enchantress of Night, Secrets, Vigilance, and Subterfuge. Again, in the same realm. So we finish the journey in the same realm we start the journey in. And the entry and self, objective goal, next step, and conclusion are all in the same realm. The obstacle and the external force and guide are both in different realms. So what this makes me think of, it's like one of those internal external things. It's like if you've ever played a game or watched a movie with an element of dimensional travel or time travel, it's like if you have access to 2 points in time, the present and the past, or the present and the future, or the past and the future, and you have to maneuver between times to, like, if you encounter an obstacle in the present, then you would go back to the past and move it so that when you come back to the present, it's not there. And then if you, like, in the present, if there's an element of ruin, so like in the present, if there's a bridge that's destroyed, you go into the past, you cross the bridge, and then you come back into the present. So it's almost like that energy, and that comes out not extremely often, but it's happened before, and every time it comes out, I'm like, oh, wait. So let's see what this realm is. This would have to be a realm of, it might be Hades, because of, yeah, it is the realm of Hades. Nyx. Hold up, wait, hold up. I'm confused. Because it was Pluto, duh. Wait, we're 16 and 17. Oh, here we are. Yeah, it is. So, Vanth, the mother of Dawn, Thanatos, and Nyx are all in the realm of Hades. And it's interesting because Vanth is the second listed in the realm of Hades. The mother of Dawn is the fourth. Thanatos is the fifth. And then Nyx is the sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's the second, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth. And they appear in that order. First it's Vanth, then it's the mother of Dawn, then Thanatos, and then Nyx. Now outside of that, this looks Celtic. So the kingdom of Hades. The realm of Hades is next to Pandemonium, the most mortal of the domains. This is perhaps due to the intensely human nature of the gods that dwell in and adjacent to it. To dwell in Hades is to express the care of the dead for the living, the inevitability of human nature, and the possibility of change, even past the point of no return. And that's the realm, the kingdom that this takes place primarily in, which is interesting because of all of the. It's time for Persephone to go down to Hades. And I've been playing Immortals Phoenix Rising, and it's interesting because I was playing through Aphrodite's story, And Aphrodite, I finally made it to where I collected her essence. Um, and there was this point where she was like, I can't remember. It's probably Demeter. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Carius is her Roman name. She was like, Demeter's saying that the seasons are because, or like Demeter's convinced Persephone that the seasons are because she's away in the underworld, but like that's a lie or something like that. And I was like, that's what I've been saying. The video game has agreed with me. So Banff, caretaker of the lost, and this is our entry where the traveler begins the journey, the current situation and state. The caretaker of the lost, Vanth, guides the dead who become sidetracked or misled to their proper places. An agent of Hades' mercy, she helps them recall that which they most need to know about themselves to continue on in the afterlife. Benevolent and dedicated, Vanth provides that which is most needed at the point where it is most needed. She inspires us to trust those we depend on, and that the tools which will aid us will be there or will be easily found at the critical moment. It is important to rest, to breathe, and to not give in to panic and fear. Domains are respite, assistance, and memory. And that's because I feel like, again, that's another thread that I've sort of been on. Um, it's that discovering discovery of self. No, I guess it's a 2-4 or a 4-4-1. She helps them recall that which they most need to know about themselves to continue on in the afterlife. So I was gonna use the mystical manga tarot. Hmm, I guess I can still use the mystical manga tarot. I feel like I need a tarot deck for this now. I know that one deck that Eve's been using that Rob unboxed recently has I have duh. I need a little bookmark. I feel like I just had something I could have used as a bookmark, but I threw it away. It's fine. It's early in the book. I'm going to use the Tarot Apocalypsis because it pulls on different belief systems. I don't like calling them mythologies in the Tarot Apocalypsis because they have Hindu, like the Pentacles is the Hindu pantheon, but it's what Egyptian and wands, it's Hindu and earth or Pentacles, it's Greco Roman or Greek and water, and it is Norse in air. And it's right here. This is what I'm looking for. I want to know. What are you waiting for? Take a bite of my heart tonight. So I finished doing the all signs yesterday, and I wanted to eat hibachi. And so the Pisces part of it, it talked about Suckloff angel of verdancy and the seed that blows in the wind that takes root, and how as the plant extends into the sky, it extends the domain of Suckloff. And I'm going out into to the car yesterday with my brother, and I look over here in the yard where like our dog passed years ago, and she's buried in the backyard. And the year after, like the next spring, we noticed a pink tulip that just sprouted, and everybody was like, "Where did that come from? Like, did anybody plant that?" And nobody planted it. But yesterday I go out, the tulip hasn't sprung yet, but I noticed there's this patch of like tall grass with these yellow flowers. They might be daffodils. I don't know flowers. And I looked to my brother and I'm like, where did those come from? So we randomly got these little yellow flowers that just popped up. And then we went out to get hibachi. And then on the way there, I saw some swans. It was two swans in this little cemetery that's by the Walmart. Um, and like they're known to be out there sometimes, but I had never seen them. And I see these two swans. I'm like, what? And then I go and in my fortune cookie, it had this fortune that was like, it was like make no demands on a man's soul when you already have his heart or something like that. And then I came back and I noticed there was another yard where those yellow flowers had popped up. So I guess they're just like popping up in the neighborhood. I don't know. Anyway, I was like, okay. Y'all ever like have that moment where the universe and spirit is trying so hard to get you to see something? And then you're like, okay. Like I see the synchronicities and stuff. You don't have to make it this obvious, but at the same time, please do, because sometimes we need it to be obvious. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't. It's fine. I want to see what Vanth is helping us remember. Oh, no, I got stuff in the way. That's a lot of cards. Before I get to the obstacle, what is Vanth helping us to remember? Hello, Holly. Boop, boop, boop. I could tomorrow. I was like, oh, she's just popping up. One of them had blooms. Two of them hadn't fully bloomed yet. It was like two or three of them hadn't fully bloomed yet. And that makes me think of the Seeker card in the Spirit Keeper's Tarot. Because in the Seeker is the fool in search of spirit in search of knowledge. It's the second fool. And in that one of the mystical roses had bloomed and two of them were still buds. So, Vanth, what are you helping us remember? Remember who you are. Who was that? Two cards flipped over, I think. I gotta find them. Where are they? Oh, here they are. Three cards flipped over. We have the Empress, the Lovers, and the Four of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck is the Ace of Wands. The Empress is Inanna Ishtar, I believe. The Lovers, I would have to look up. I'm not sure who they are. And then the Four of Pentacles is the dude on the elephant. This Four of Pentacles, though, it's interesting because instead of like an energy of hoarding, it feels more like it's an energy of moving one's resources elsewhere or like a relocation. Now I got all these little decks. Oof. I would say, oh, well, under the Ace of Wands is the King of Wands. And the Eight of Wands is under that. The King of Wands, this is Horus, I think. I'll look it up. This is maybe it's reminding us that we can be in an energy of abundance um, outside of what is already established. Um, where did I put this book? Where did I put this book? Here it is. So the Empress, that's the High Priestess. The Empress is the Sumerian cult of Inanna. Before words were given form and the world's cycles charted, mankind sought after me. When the first temples were built and the first rhythms danced, I was there. In the quickening of every womb and the sprouting of every seed, I rejoiced and I gave my blessing to the gap between bodies filled by lovers in their ecstasy. In the quickening of every womb and the sprouting of every seed, I rejoiced and I gave my blessing to the gap between bodies filled by lovers in their ecstasy. And then the lovers is literally the next card with this plant wrapped around the dude's arm, reaching up towards the lady. See that plant? I mean, and she is the empress, so she can definitely abundance up, grow up a little thing to fill that gap. Speaking of random flowers, I was called Queen of Heaven, Warrior, Queen who rides beasts and bride, and it was given to me to love and desire and give fullness. The women cried out in labor, and I steered that boat into the safe harbor. The fields lay bare, and the man lacked desire. I walked among them and planted within them the need to create and grow. I crept into the belly of every nervous bride and coiled within their honey sweet love. I have been called bride 1,000 times, yet I am unmarried and belong to no man. I have been called mother in the hearts and on the tongues of millions, yet no swelling belly has loosened my girdle, nor a babe broken from me in blood. I am the ties that bind you by blood and by love. I am both mother and lover, nurture and desire, for it is impossible that one exists without the other, and both are love. It is my love that draws the king into my arms and my loins that bestow sovereignty upon him. He cannot rule without my blessing, for only from our union can the fields become fertile. Women birth their young, and households prepare the marriage beds of eager brides. All that once was, is now, and ever shall be. All that once was, is now, and ever shall be, has come from and through me, for I am the house of life. I am Venus, the morning star, and the evening star, set for as a marriage bed, sweet one. Set for us a marriage bed, sweet one. Take the part of the king desiring sovereignty, and come to be enthroned within me. I will steer that boat into the safe harbor, and I will decree a sweet fate for you. Inanna. The lovers. Who these folks be? This is the Hyros Gamos sacred marriage. In the beginning, we were one, unified in everything, undifferentiated and containing all. I'm not going to read all these. There was something about the Empress that said something about where was it? Um, the fields lay bare and the man lacked desire. I walked among them and planted within them the need to create and grow. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's that that's returning. The need to create and grow. And I can see how, because of the world in the past few years, actually, before that, how the need to create and grow could have waned as we were all so busy with our lives and making livings and stuff like that. And so maybe Vanth is reminding us of and returning desire, because she is desire. That's a part of love. And so it's almost like if we can't fulfill that desire where we are, then this is the impetus to move and to take our energy in places where those desires can be met and fulfilled. Now, the obstacle to that is just reward, evaluation, and respite. Who is that? So, Dawn is actually in the realm of the afterworld of Anwin, which is the kingdom right after the kingdom of Hades. It's the realm listed immediately after. The domain of Anwin is the ancient hunting ground of the gods, a land of myth and folklore. It is both wild and unpredictable, and bound by traditions, customs, and rituals as old as time itself. To dwell in Anwin is to be both bound and wild, ancient and childlike, fair and bestial. Don, the Red Shepherd, the protector of the borders of Anwin, the death god Don, sends his red knight to seek and succor those souls who are lost and wandering. So even though Don is in a different realm, he still falls within the framework of a Hades because he's the death god. So he's like the Hades of a different realm, potentially. Again, the lost are here. The lost and wandering. He evaluates these souls in his castle while they wait for passage to the fortunate isles. When the boat arrives, he keeps those that most impress him to serve him as retainers, or to become red knights themselves, bringing others of the lost to the place of refuge, evaluation, and eternal respite. Dawn is our guide after the long, hard struggle, who leads us to the place of rest and rewards us justly, not for our past deeds, but for how we comport ourselves in the moment, which is interesting. So, this is a little bit of a confirmation to what came out at the end of that final shuffle yesterday. And it was the energy of like the karmic slate being wiped clean because of all of the history and patterning and baggage that had built up over many, 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 many years, societies, cultures, civilizations, histories, whatever. And how like we start fresh, and in starting fresh, if we choose to, not choose to, but how in starting fresh we can reenact things in such a way to reincur some karmic debts, or we can move forward in a completely different way. And so it's interesting that it says that he doesn't judge us based on the past, but for how we comport ourselves in the moment. And it's also interesting because we have Don, Donna, and then Mother of Dawn, Dawn, next to each other. Is this an Aksunade? Is the Mother of Dawn the Aksunade energy? The Aksunade is the brilliant Dawn, in the space of the dark night. It's when light finds us there instead of darkness. And that's the obstacle. So the obstacle would be comporting ourselves in the moment in a way that is separate from the past deeds. And again, coming off of this Four of Pentacles, there's a movement out of whatever this place is back here. I almost wonder if that's a little bit of a Siddhartha. But Siddhartha gave up all of his possessions, so I don't think he would have taken them with him. Maybe he took them in the beginning and then eventually sort of got rid of more and more. Maybe there were those along the way um, that he found who were in need, and so he gave. When the boat arrives, he keeps those. Jed, I don't think Anana Ishtar said anything about a boat, did she? Pretty sure Anana did not say anything about a boat, but a boat is on my mind. Okay. The women cried out in labor, and I steered that boat into the safe harbor. And then at the end again, take the part of the king desiring sovereignty and come to be enthroned within me. I will steer that boat into the safe harbor, and I will decree a sweet fate for you. Decreeing a sweet fate for you. And then we have Don, who mentioned a boat. I'm going to read it again. He evaluates those souls in his castle while they wait for passage to the Fortunate Isles. When the boat arrives, he keeps those that most impress him to serve him as retainers or to become red knights themselves, bringing others of the lost to the place of refuge, evaluation, and eternal respite. So they end up in Don's castle, awaiting the boat to take them to the Fortunate Isles. And then Inanna Ishtar is saying, seeking kingly desires of sovereignty and finding the fulfillment within her. And she will guide the boat. She will give that boat safe passage. And being the Empress, she's an energy of abundance. And that's all the, what, Three of Wands energy. So I can look before and after the Three of Wands, but I don't know why that would necessarily be a challenge or an obstacle. The bottom of this deck is all wands and then all majors. I don't even think the Three of Wands in this deck has a boat on it, though. But the Three of Wands, it'll carry through some imagery of the Four of Pentacles. Here it is. I just saw you, Queen of Swords and the Ten of Pentacles. See? Boat going into abundance, the Fortunate Isles. It's all here. So the Three of Wands in this deck, it looks like this. And I say it carries on the imagery of the Four of Coins, Four of Pentacles, because here we have someone traveling on the elephant leaving. And here in the back, we see all these people with camels now journeying. And this is a spread of a journey. So here are all these cards depicting journeys and movement between the Queen of Swords and the Ten of Pentacles. The Queen of Swords, this Norn energy with the thread and the spindle that weaves a fate. Right? Find whatever within me, and I will carry your boat to safe harbor to give you a sweet fate. This is so self-referential. Wait, hold up, what? I'll look at it later. And this is interesting because it feels like this would be like the Ten of Pentacles is the space that the person in the Four of Pentacles find themselves in. So, with all of this mention of fate and with the Queen of Swords here in a different element, with Don being in a different realm that carries an energy of Hades, or his role carries one similar to the realm that we are in. And maybe that's another reason why it's like it's that like parallel dimension time hopping energy, because like we start our journey in the realm of Hades and it takes primarily in the realm of Hades. Everything happens in the realm of Hades besides the obstacle and the external force. And so we have someone in a different realm that serves a similar function to Hades that comes in as the obstacle. So I'm just going to read. I want to jump right to the Traveler to see what that external force is. But again, it's like there's all this with the energy of the lost and wandering in Van, or was that in Dawn? I think they both mentioned lost and wandering people, and then we have the Traveler. So it would almost feel like the Traveler is one of these red knights sent by Dawn to help usher us into the Fortunate Isles. Domains, just reward, evaluation, and respite. And it's interesting too, because the Queen of Swords is a pre-justice energy. And she does sort of sit on the throne as a judge with her sword sort of pointed down, ready to spin the fate. I guess the Queen of Swords is the one who determines our fate here. Of course, it makes me think of Ananiel, Angel of Storms, but not the Ananiel that came out for whoever yesterday, a different Ananiel. So for the Mother of Dawn, she is the object or goal, the best that can be achieved according to current trends, the thing slash attitude that is needed for the best outcome, the realm which holds the answers the traveler seeks. And it's the same realm that we spend most of this reading in. Mother of Dawn, the emissary. Once a mortal woman of legendary beauty, the Mother of Dawn now represents the populace of Hades, communicating their interest to the powers of the realm. In life, her beauty was used as a prize to be granted to others for their deeds and valor, irrespective of her own wishes. In death, she is free of those constraints and chooses to exercise the agency that was denied in life in service of others. The Mother of Dawn illuminates the path of compassion and kindness, demonstrating that the difference between service and servitude is the power to choose. It is in this power and ensuring that it is available to all that true beauty is found. So it's interesting that the object and goal is agency. Which again, I feel like that plays into some of what's been coming out. The object and goal is like to empower us to make our own choices and decisions, to give us that sense of courage within our own ability to do so. And it's like that's what Vanth is reminding us of, but with the obstacle being Dawn, it's almost like wanting for and waiting for someone or something else to come and do it for us. Because Dawn sends the Red Knights to get the lost souls and guide them to the palace, and then Dawn determines their fate, basically. Dawn judges them. The Mother of Dawn, the goal is like, it's almost to get us to advocate for ourselves in a certain way, rather than to continue to be complacent and wait, because it's almost like that's where we were before, in a sense of complacency and waiting for something or someone to either give us passage to where we want to go, to give us the thing that we want, to give us permission to be who we are or whatever. And it makes me think of one of the 64 I Chings. I don't remember which one. It makes me think of a few of them, kind of. Which is, again, though, it emphasizes that, like, the solution is in the realm that we're already in. The obstacle lies in other realms. External forces are in other realms. It's almost like it's trying to get us to realize that we already have everything we need. Who was that? Was that no, that wasn't Van. Was that Minnow Pond? Tara. I watch Minnow Pond sometimes. Um there was something about somebody said or something I saw somewhere. It's I lost it trying to remember who it was. Like we already have what we need inside of us to do it. It was something along those lines. And that's what this is trying to get us to see. So the next most immediate tangible action that can be taken is Thanatos. Thanatos is the warden of Dis, the son of night and darkness. Thanatos supports the rest of the deities of Hades in their duties, filling whatever need is required. The god of endings, he sees all things through to completion, serving those who require service, in line with the ultimate goals of the realm and its master. Thanatos teaches us that it is not always leadership where satisfaction and worthiness is found. There is often greater satisfaction in seeing a good thing completed for others than in chasing glory, fame, or credit. Done, after all, is better than perfect. His domains again are completion, support, and expediency. And if Thanatos supports the rest of the deities of Hades in their duties, then it feels like his support lends to the Mother of Dawn's agency in a way. Now, Thanatos and Dawn would be similar. Well, because I think Thanatos is the god of death. Hades is like the lord of the dead, but Thanatos is like the one actually associated with death. And then Dawn was a death god, right? The death god Dawn, yeah. So it's interesting because again, it's like the next action is Thanatos in supporting us. The obstacle was Dawn in doing it for us. They're both death god energies, but one is like the one that does it for you, apparently, and the other one is the one that supports you or supports the other deities in supporting you, I guess. And it's interesting that Thanatos is the son of night and darkness, because here we have Nyx associated with night. So is Thanatos Nyx's child? Probably. See, so then that's interesting, because we have Dawn and the mother of Dawn. And then we have Thanatos and the mother of Thanatos. And then we got Persephone. All right, then we got Demeter that can't let Persephone go. Hey Zelda, how you doing? So next is the Traveler. And the Traveler is the external force or guide, a person who affects the situation external to ourselves or whose help we can seek. And the Traveler, I don't recognize that symbol, so I don't know what that realm is. We'll find out together. It might be this one, the realm of Shoal. Orna. Hello? Oh. Okay, well, it has to be the first realm then. Oof. I was like, oh, well, I started in the second realm, so the odds of it being in the first one are slimmer. Yeah, it's literally the second one in the second realm. The Republic of Pandemonium, which is interesting because Hades is also, the realm of Hades is next to Pandemonium. The realm of Hades is next to Pandemonium, the most mortal of the domains. So Pandemonium is the most mortal domain. And then I guess Hades is the second most mortal. So it's still an adjacent energy in that way. We got Hades, the realm of the dead. We got one death god in one realm, and then we got a realm, the traveler from a realm adjacent to it in the next one. I'm doing well. I hope your day goes better, even though it's almost over. I hope you have a better day tomorrow. So, the traveler, keeper of the crossroads. The traveler's identity has been completely effaced. He wanders whatever, he wanders wherever no road exists with his lone. Hold up. Oh, there we go. There we go. The traveler's identity has been completely effaced. He wanders wherever no road exists with his lone worry steed, trading his goods wherever he stops. He stays in one place only long enough to sell what he has, take on new goods, and move on to the next stop along a path that only he knows. His trades, likewise, are made according to some measure of value that exists in his own mind, having little to do with the local demand or supply. In all things, the traveler makes his own way, adhering to no established society or guidelines. The traveler may be followed, but he does not lead. His example shows us the boundaries of society, both in its limitations and in the guardrails that it establishes to keep us from danger. His appearance calls on us to question and compare our values and the values of others, and determine whether we are reckless in overvaluing our own selves or overcautious and not giving ourselves our due. His domains are restlessness, independence, and appraisal. And it's interesting that this external force guide is bringing through an energy of independence and traveling your own road. Because again, it feels like that is what Vanth, in a way, reawakens within us. I'm missing a card. Where's my card? Am I not missing a card? Oh, I got all three of them. It feels like that's what Vanth is reminding us of. It's like if we can't find, or if we're not finding that sort of resonance within us, then it's like to go out and get it and find it. And the obstacle is to not sort of seek it in another. And maybe it's because it's like if it's given to us by someone else, then although it may be something that fulfills us, although it's something that would fulfill a desire, it's almost like without that knowing, then it doesn't as much. It almost reads a little bit like you have to experience the bad to really appreciate the good. But just in the sense of knowing oneself a little bit more, to know that it's like there's a difference between something that you enjoy and something that fulfills you. Did somebody say this? Or did I read this? Or is this a thought? Why did I say that? Because I lost it. It's like it was something about like knowing the reason why. Something about the reasons why we desire the things that we desire. I read that. I don't know where it was. Because it's like if we know why we desire it, then we can get even more fulfillment out of it. Oh, I read that. Or somebody said it. Because it's like if there's something that we want and we get it, but we don't feel fulfilled in the getting of it, then it's like maybe there's a deeper, like there's a underlying thing there that's not being sort of satiated. And so that's why we sort of discover for ourselves. And this is the guide. Again, the guide being the traveler who goes to all of these lands and who exchanges in ways that they deem sort of appropriate. And it is to be aware of how, when we do that, or if that is our metric, then it's going to be different for everybody because it's no longer standardized to a certain set system. But again, the obstacle is the one who brings you to his castle and then judges you and determines where you go. So it's interesting. Nyx is the conclusion and final repose, where the traveler ends the journey in the present final outcome. And Nyx is not that far. Right there. Nyx, Enchantress of Night. The embodiment of night, Nyx is the keeper of secrets, an observer of truths in Hades' realm. Very little happens there, but Nyx does not. Very little happens there, but Nyx does not know of it. Wait, I feel like that's written weird. The embodiment of night, Nyx is the keeper of secrets, an observer of truths in Hades' realm. Very little happens there, but Nyx does not know of it through her subtle influences and machinations. Though she may seem at times to work counter to the interests of her lord, she is fully loyal, occasionally encouraging malfeasance to reveal and effectively countering it. To reveal, to I feel like I'm losing half my brain just trying to read this. Oh, the other messages were deleted before I could read them. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna read this one slow. The embodiment of night. Nyx is the keeper of secrets, an observer of truths in Hades' realm. Very little happens there, but Nyx does not know of it through her subtle influences and machinations. Though she may seem at times to work counter to the interests of her lord, she is fully loyal, occasionally encouraging malfeasance to reveal and effectively counter it. Nick shows us that the harmonious and well cared for places are maintained through constant vigilance, sometimes secret means, and that things that may seem malicious may in fact be to your benefit. That still confuses me. I think it's like very little happens there that Nyx does not know through her subtle influences and machinations. Very little happens there, but Nyx does not know of it. What? What? That reminds me of the Belladonna card too. What is malfeasance? We're gonna have to ask Siri on that one. Matthew! Thank you for the deck, Matt. I appreciate it. I was not expecting it. My dad was like, "You got a package." I was like, "Wait." Hey Siri, define. I can't speak. Hey Siri, define malfeasance.
Malfeasance means wrongdoing, especially by a public official.
Wrongdoing, especially by a public official. Wait. Hashtag expose what happens in the night. Nyx is about to reveal, or what happens in the dark behind closed doors. Nyx is about to go public. Occasionally encouraging malfeasance to reveal and effectively counter it. Oh, see, that's a setup. That's a setup. Nyx is out here setting people up. Nyx is out here like, yeah, go ahead and do it. Do it. Here's an opportunity to be bad, and then she exposes them. It's like To Catch a Predator. But I guess the part was it was the end part where it said um sometimes things that seem malicious may in fact be to your benefit. That might be in the difficulty of things that we experience. And it might be in the lack of it's like a lack of it's not a lack of support because the support and the agency are both there, but it's a lack of like doing things for us. It's not as easy. It's very DIY. And so that can feel a little cruel, especially if we're used to a certain type of exchange. Um, I do want to pull just one more. Maybe I'll give it two more. If nothing comes out, then I won't pull another one, and I'll just end it. Oh, it's already been an hour. Oof. Okay, we're not getting another one. That's it. And I guess that's interesting because I was watching random YouTube videos. I was cleaning today and I wanted noise, and I put on a movie, but I started watching the movie. So then I was like, well, let me go put on a YouTube video that I'm slightly interested in to help pass the time, but not one that I'm so interested in that I just sit and watch it and I don't clean. And then I ended up sit every single time. Every single time I'm like, let me put on something that I'm not going to watch because I just want noise while I'm doing something that requires no thought. I end up watching it. So I watched this whole like the opening statements for the defense or for the prosecutor in defense of this trial, and then I ended up watching testimonies and stuff like that, and then I watched the sentencing and stuff. Um, but it was a little bit of not necessarily encouraging malfeasance, but there was a father who had caught his son in a lie. And I guess it was a little bit of an energy of like, well, let's see how far like you'll take this. The son was going to extremes emailing himself, complaining to himself, and responding to his own complaints about how he was enrolled or how he was working certain jobs and not getting paid, and like emails, exchange. Like that was a very like time consuming lie to uphold and maintain just so he didn't have to go to school or go to work. And so his father found out, and on the day that they were going to have a meeting with the school, because he was supposed to have graduated and he couldn't get his transcripts or whatever, he ended up murdering his parents. And then he tried to make it seem like they had went up to a cabin, and like he filed a missing persons report several days later. Um, and it's interesting because in the prosecuting attorney's closing statement, he was like, we all face like challenges and difficulties in life. Every single one of us, we make mistakes that we have to own up to, whether it be like, we don't want to go into work and talk to a boss or supervisor because we have to own up to a thing, or we don't want to go home to face this. Like, there's something that we don't want to face, but we do it. Him, on the other hand, he decided to murder his parents and make it seem like they had gone missing, and was just. And then he was like, I think he should get life, and I don't think he should get an opportunity for parole because life is going to continue to be challenging and difficult. And it's like, it was a whole thing, of course. It was brutal. It was brutal. But he was just like, life is hard for everybody, and it's not going to stop being hard. So it doesn't do us any good to be soft or easy now. And so it almost feels like a Nyx would be like an energy that pushes us almost to the brink sometimes to see what our character is, or for us to see what our character is. And again, that kind of sort of wraps back to that Vanth energy where it's us discovering who we are, but Nyx does it in a very like devil energy type of way. Like Nyx reads like devil energy, and how it isn't, it's like how it plays a certain role and it plays a certain part, but it's not necessarily for us to like fall prey to the trap. It's for us to be like, hey, you're like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that. Let me do this other thing instead. And so sometimes it reveals things either way, I guess. And we can try to make the argument that, oh, it was this and it was that, but it's like there are certain choices and decisions that once we make, we're responsible for. Now, Nyx was an energy with that malfeasance. It's more directed towards those in positions of power and those in positions of authority. And it's almost like, let's say, if there was a politician who was beloved by their people, but they had like shady secret dealings in the back where they didn't really care. It's like they put on the persona and they say the things to make people think that they care about them, but in reality, they don't. So Nyx is in an energy that will come and tempt them with something promising that would probably screw the people over. And they would go for it, and then the people would be like, "Oh my gosh, like why is this happening and why is that happening?" And then the politician they'll put on a brave face and be like, "We'll get through this together. We'll get to the bottom of this." And then Nyx like pulls the rug from under their feet. Nyx reveals what's behind door number two, and it's like, "Hey, that politician's actually the one who did this." While they're out here saying that they don't know and they'll do their best to solve it, they're the one behind it. And then we are faced with the truth of what that really is. And it's almost like it's better to feel betrayed and to be hurt in that situation, but to know the truth than to continue to be ignorant. But I think the thing with that is that energy, it works in multiple ways. We can also see the true brilliance and benevolence and kindness and compassion of a person when they're sort of put in extreme straits and situations. That would be the energy of the boss or the CEO who takes a pay cut so that their employees can survive, like the pandemic or whatever. Like who Dan Price, CEO. I don't know if Dan Price is actually Dan Price, but with the persona that Dan Price puts on, he's like that CEO who takes a pay cut so or he doesn't raise his own salary so that his workers like are paid well and they can afford to live, and he'll give them like time off and stuff. And it's interesting because it reads as like the more it comes to the light of how there are people in certain positions that we might have certain connotations around that are actually decent, will sort of shift in that direction. Because then that'll give us the like, see, not everyone is like that. If this person can do it, everybody can do it. It's a question of, do they care enough? What do they like? What is their priority? Is it people or is it profit? And we're used to it being profit. We're coming into a people energy, but somewhere along the way, it's almost also too like maybe, and that falls under the energy of agency and advocacy, where we start to demand better instead of just getting whatever we get. Because again, that's the obstacle under Dawn. We put all of our trust and faith in Dawn, and then Dawn will evaluate and judge us and send us to the Fortunate Isles. Or or Dawn will make you part of the Red Guard or the Red Knights or whatever. Which again, it might not be bad, but that's just how the energy is reading. It's like it incorporates you into the system. It's like whoever tweeted that tweet that people who work for Sally Mae are traitors. And I would say that this is over. I guess I could. I don't know if it is or isn't. It's like people who would be quick to like throw you under the bus to make themselves look better. And then it's just like it doesn't work out for them. I can tell you from personal experience in my personal life. Things are aligning in such a way that folks who would do that end up getting their justice wins in the end. So, next has energy, which while it may take one side, hold on, wait, let me read that. While it may take away one side of the future, can allow one to see their own heart's direction. I like that. And I think that's in all of this. And again, it's like that's what Vanth is here to remind us of in the current state of things. And I think there are ripples and ramifications outside of that too. This is an energy of like creating that abundance and finding it for oneself rather than waiting for or appealing to some royal energy to do it for you, some in charge energy. Um, and it almost reads more tribal in nature, but I don't think it is. And that's just because tribes are small. I guess tribe is relative. You can have a tribe as large as the members of that tribe, but it feels like maybe it feels like tribal in nature, but more global in scope, if that makes sense. And it doesn't feel as exclusionary as tribe can be, even though a lot of times when we use the word tribe, we use it in a more inclusionary sense. But it's like some people are in the tribe, other people aren't, you know? But I guess we can have different tribes and there still not be intertribal warfare or whatever. And that's the thing that the obstacle got right. It's like the past is in the past. We're being judged and evaluated now, but we're not seeking for something or someone else to sort of evaluate us to determine where we go. We're finding those things and finding those spaces and doing the things that we need to do ourselves. So Jean the Maid, Guardian of Saints. So I'm gonna get a final chord. Yeah. I feel like they're global because of the internet, but they're still not. It's like it's global in dispersion and I guess in numbers, but it still feels very clicky. That's the word. Because they might be global in nature, but they feel just as clicky as tribes have always been. And it feels like they can have intertribal conflicts just like tribes have always had interglobal or intertribal conflict. It's just now instead of being concentrated in one place, they're spread out all over the world. But when I said global in scope, it was more of an inclusive energy rather than just like being positioned all over the world. But hashtag not all tribes. Some tribes are um, can coexist with others. So, last card of the Mausolea Oracle of Souls. Oracle of Souls. And again, that this is primarily happening in the realm of Hades, which is interesting because the Death card came out in reverse on the vice versa. So it feels like maybe we're in a limbo as we transition into the next, almost seeing if humanity has learned from its many, 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 many years of all kinds of stuff. And we're in a space of being evaluated. It's like we are, but we're not. Because ultimately what we decide in the direction we move in will determine what our future is and what that future looks like. So it's like we are being evaluated, but we're not. We are being judged, but maybe observed is a better word. Observed, but not necessarily evaluated, because the actions will produce um, effects and results, consequences. The actions will produce consequences. And not all consequence is bad, it's just the result of a taken action. And it goes from individually to interpersonally, all the way up. And it's like, yeah, we've had enough. And I think that's something that is very like a lot of people are very vocal about. And that's at least something that I see a lot of. It's people who are not wanting to continuously play out things of the past that we realize aren't great. especially when it comes to like diversity and inclusion and different experiences and cultures and stuff like that. When it comes to disparities between things that we can't control. And even if we could control, it's like, why does it matter? We should still be granted rights and accesses to basic humanities and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's definitely shifting. Um, but now it's just like it's time to put in the action, and maybe again that's why Nyx is coming out. It's like maybe Nyx is putting pressure on the system from the people, on the systems from the peoples too. It's almost like that dynamic of the system and the people in power on top and the people that they are in charge of on the bottom is like shifting. And so now the people are putting pressure on the systems. Potentially. Paul Simon, Rhythm of the Saints. Through the Bardo, exactly. Every time I see that word Bardo, I'm gonna hear Shane and be like, "You want to get? Do you want to be stuck in the Bardo moss? Huh? Do you? You want to be stuck here?" Sorry, I might rewatch. I'm sorry. Oh, I love that part of the video. But yeah, and that's where Sagittarius energy was when I ran through the signs yesterday. And again, like we're coming out of a South Node in Sagittarius, North Node in Gemini axis. So for Sag to be in an energy of stuck, while Gemini is apparently in an energy of like already there, it's not too surprising because the pressure was on that axis for a whole year and a half. And the year and a half, like it started May 2020. And May 2020 is when, at least here in the States, a lot more of the human rights stuff started coming to the surface. So, Kirsty, oh snap, hello, 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 hello. I will take this one. It's Nyx, of course. Nyx and the poet of Avon, or Avon, the poet of Avon, the storyteller. Fame, stagnation, and pride are his domains. We have a stagnation in fame and pride, and then we have Nyx, the energy of that. What was the word? What was the word? Malfeasance, with the energy of malfeasance, encouraging malfeasance to expose the proud. Okay, girl. And again, the traveler is behind the poet of Avon. Both of these carry similar energies, though. It feels like the poet could be like a traveling bard type of energy, but it's a traveling bard energy that spreads a certain influence. It's like the bard sings a tale to ingrain in the hearts and minds of people a certain way that a history has gone down. But the traveler is something of crossroads, keeper of the crossroads. And again, it's interesting because it's almost like, I don't know, everything, I don't know. I already said it. So, last card from the Tarot Apocalypse. What time is it? Bedtime. Bedtime. Yes, it is very much The Witcher. I was literally thinking of that dude from The Witcher. I don't remember his name. But he was like, I can make people not fear you, Geralt. And he was like, whatever. I don't care. He's like, why are you so annoying? Leave me alone. And he was like, I thought we were friends. Oh, is that the sun? The sun and the emperor at the cut. That's two interesting energies. Okay. His name wasn't Poe. What was it? What was his name? I felt like it started with the letter P for some reason. Okay. So the Four of Pentacles came out again, which is that traveling, moving. It's like taking one's things with them. And they say that there are certain. Oh, this was the energy of the traveler. Duh, I was reading it and it completely slipped my mind because it was like it almost read a little Siddhartha Gautama Buddha. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I probably butchered it. But it's like he was a prince who left all of his stuff behind. It's like instead of leaving his stuff, it's almost like he left with some of his fortune. But along his travels and along his journeys, he came across different people who needed different things. And every time he found someone in need, he would like give to them and he would learn from them. And that's how his vantage point of the world increased. And that's how different experiences, besides the one of a prince, like that's how he became aware of all that. And in becoming aware of all of that, it's like he could look at his own life and decide and determine how much of it really mattered, like which aspects of his life mattered and which was like material superfluous nonsense. But in the exchange of giving one's own material possessions to someone else, it should also come with the understanding that there is a certain amount of material financial stability that we need in order to like be fed and clothed and housed and be able to maintain and upkeep our hygiene and stuff like that. So it's like while the material isn't the most important, we do need it in certain ways to fulfill certain basic needs and desires and stuff like that. It depreciates after a certain point. And then the Traveler came out, and I was like, oh. So after that came out, these first the three cards that would have been at the top of the deck flipped over, and of course we have again the Sun and the Emperor. But in between the Sun and the Emperor is the All Gifted, is Pandora with her box. Maybe they're back. Maybe everything that escaped from the box is back in the box now, and we can walk into this. It's almost like a space that was always intended for us, but it's one that we got separated from at some point in time. It almost reads very Adam and Eve being cast out of the Garden of Eden. Like humanity was supposed to be born in the Garden of Eden where all of their needs are met and provided, and there's this direct, like super direct relationship with the divine, the creator, the all. Um, and then because of what happened and went down, we were like cast aside, and then the veil came down, or depending on, if you look at the Angelarium year twos, they'll tell you a story that's kind of brutal. It's a little brutal, but anyway. Um, yeah, it feels like the portal of the all gifted is, we find ourselves there. There's lots of butterflies here. Again, butterflies being the energy of change and transition and transformation, but the again part being, it's like that's what we are discovering within ourselves and the power that we're coming into. Sovereignty. That's what she literally, Anana literally said it. She literally said it at the beginning. Before the obstacle came out and before the guidance from the external forces came out, Anana Ishtar said, Anana said, I will read it from the book again because I don't want to paraphrase. It's literally this energy. I open up to the Emperor. That's not who I'm looking for. It says right here, take the part of the king desiring sovereignty and come to be enthroned within me. I will steer that boat into the safe harbor and I will decree a sweet fate for you. It's like that desire a king sovereignty. And that's why the obstacle is an energy that will do everything for us. You know what I mean? And then we have the emperor right here. The emperor who's been who has the blessing of Inanna, whose sovereignty is granted through her and her power and ability to bestow it upon others. With the sun, that is the sun beyond the sun. This is Mithras, our Mithras beyond Helios. And it's like it's that more primordial solar energy that really takes us to, that puts us in the space of this. But it's like we have to be the emperors in that space, because it just feels like that's the level of choice we have. And in a lot of ways, it's the level of choice that we've always had, but we're coming into more of an awareness of how we choose so many things. Bottom of the deck is the Princess of Cups. I don't know why I held it like that. There you go. Bottom of the deck is the Princess of Cups. Are those more butterflies? Yeah. We got more butterflies. We got a whole bunch of butterflies. They're smaller than the other ones, but more butterflies as we enter the gateway of the all gifted. So that's interesting. I guess I appreciate some of these confirmations, because some of the stuff at the end of the last video, I was a little bit like, karma is white. And the energy of the obstacle is interesting because it feels like there is truth in that. Truth in how we're not being evaluated in the past, but in the whatever that word was of the now moment. And maybe it just speaks to how easily like we give our power away. Our power of choice and decision, powers of sovereignty and free will and all kinds of stuff like that. So thank you, Zelda, Holly, and Matt, and Kirsty for being here. I hope you all have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all, what's that say? All that you wish. Oh, that was his name. I was like, what? I hope that you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And until the next time, I hope you have an excellent one, like I already said. Bye.